to a new house in Cypress, California. From the outside, it looked like any normal home on the block, but on the inside, it was far from ordinary. The previous owner had remodeled the upstairs, turning what used to be 4 bedrooms into one large, open loft. At first, everything seemed fine, but soon, strange things began to happen, things that only us kids seemed to notice. On the very first day we moved in, we saw something that made our blood run cold. A spice rack sitting at the back of the kitchen counter suddenly slid forward all by itself across the tiles, over the edge, and crashed to the floor. When we told our parents, they didn't believe us. They thought one of us had done it and was trying to make up a story. But as the weeks went by, the strange activity continued and got worse. The clock in the kitchen would sometimes leap off the wall and land perfectly on top of the refrigerator, never hitting the ground. The TV and stereo would turn on by themselves, always tuned to a dead channel filled with static. 3 or 4 times a week we'd hear scratching sounds coming from the east side of the house, but there were no trees or bushes there. Sometimes my little sister and I could hear footsteps or movement coming from the upstairs closet, even when no one was up there. Our parents kept insisting it was just our imagination, until one terrifying night proved them wrong. That night, my sister Keena and I, along with 2 of our other sisters, were up in her section of the loft watching TV. Suddenly we began to hear faint music coming from the other side of the loft, from the area where our other sisters' beds were. We decided to check it out, but as soon as we walked around the corner near the stairs, it happened. From outside my sister's window, a voice began calling her name in a raspy, whispering tone. That was all we needed. We bolted down the stairs, our sisters running right behind us. We ran to our dad, terrified, and told him everything. He grabbed a flashlight and headed upstairs, and of course, we all followed close behind. The house was so quiet you could hear our footsteps echo. When he pulled back the curtains on window, every one of us froze. There were 2 smeared handprints on the outside of the glass, and hanging from the roof beam above the window was a noose. My dad immediately thought someone had tried to break in, so he called the police. The police searched the entire house and the surrounding yard, but found nothing. Then they told my dad something that made his face go pale. Years earlier, before the previous owner, the house belonged to another family, and they had a teenage daughter. One day, when her parents came home early, they found her hanging from a noose at that same window, and on the outside of the glass were 2 smeared handprints, exactly like the ones we had just seen. That was all my dad needed to hear. We packed up and moved out that same week.